Hey, good Sunday morning, everyone. This is Mitch. Hope you guys are having a great start to your day, a great weekend so far. Got quite a few things to talk about this morning. Well, really only two things to really focus on. One's the big time heat. The ridge of high pressure is beginning to scoot a little bit east. So, we know Texas has been pretty much on fire. You guys have been suffering with this big time heat, and unfortunately, it's going to still be the case today. But areas like Arkansas, Louisiana, heck, even Mississippi, Western Tennessee, maybe even Missouri, Oklahoma, if I didn't say that state already. But anyways, y'all are going to be under the gun for some nasty heat today. The heat indices are going to be absolutely awful for those areas today. And heat index meaning what it actually feels like out there could be well over 110 degrees for certain areas. And then the next topic will be severe storms. There's three areas that we need to watch out for that have a slight risk that could be under the gun for some severe storms today. So if you guys have not subscribed, definitely consider doing that. As always, like the video if you like it. Hit me up on Facebook. It's a great platform to interact with what I do. Twitter's another great one that I do, but I know not everybody does social media, and I perfectly understand that. It can be very negative on there for sure. Trust me, I know. So, but if you're big on Facebook, I have a big time goal, hitting 10,000 likes by the end of the year. I haven't quite made it to 5,000, so I got a lot of ground to make up, but definitely hit that icon over there if you're on Facebook and give my page a like. It will mean a lot. If you guys got anything that I can pray about, please put it in the comments below. It gives me an opportunity to pray over it, and it gives a whole lot of other people who watch these videos an opportunity to pray over it too. And people do pray over it, and it's really awesome to see. So let's get rolling this morning. Storm Prediction Center, like I said, three areas. This area right here in North Carolina and Virginia. This area right here in areas of southern Illinois, southern Indiana, and then western areas of Kentucky. And then this pretty large area out here that could be under the gun for some severe storms here in the Central Plains and areas of the north central U.S. and even areas into Wyoming and places like that. Need to watch out for some severe storms for sure today. There's a tornado threat out there. The highest tornado threat is right here in Wyoming, in northwest Wyoming. And then watch out, Rapid City, South Dakota for sure has a 5% chance to see a tornado in 25 miles in any given location. Then you got this 2% risk and these small 2% risk right into here. Now, you could have some big time storms in these areas today, a lot of photogenic storms. There's a couple well-known storm chasers in Virginia that do a really good job that always hitting that needle in the haystack when it comes to finding some really good storms out there. One guy's name's Peter, and he does a really, really good job storm chasing this area, the mid-Atlantic over here. But anyways, you got to be under the watch out. Watch out Richmond. Watch out even down to Raleigh and every little small town in between. From north to south could really see some storms today. And then watch out in this region right here for some severe storms. Wind threat, 15% risk in each little yellow area you see for damaging winds occurring 50 knots or higher and 25 miles in any given location. So could have some damaging winds today with these storms. And then there's a hail threat. Not the dynamics today for hail really isn't as high in this slight risk, but you could still see hail for sure. But you get that 15% risk of hail in this region. And then you got a big time hatch region, which is not only a 15% chance of 1-inch diameter hail, but you also have a 10% chance of seeing 2-inch diameter of hail in this hatch region, which is the black outline region right here with the dashes going in between it. Another big storyline today is the heat, guys. Anything in the orange is a heat advisory. The areas that you see in this deep purple, that is an excessive heat warning. So these are areas that you really need to watch out for. And you even got a couple counties in Arkansas. The middle in the heart of Texas is experiencing some nasty heat. But really, the more east you go into this region, once you get deep into Texas to the west, especially central to the west, you're not dealing with as nasty as, as bad as humidity levels. It's more of a dry heat. That is not to say that it's not brutally hot out here. But once you get into Arkansas, Missouri, eastern Oklahoma, Louisiana, and Mississippi and western Tennessee, the heat index is going to be very high, well above 100 degrees, even up towards 110 degrees at times today, with dew points basically, and this is how they measure it. They basically look at the actual air temperature, and then they look at the dew point. That is a big thing, and then relative humidity. There's a couple other things that go into it too, but one of the biggest things you can really measure it off of is the actual air temperature. Say if the air temperature is 95 degrees and the dew point 75, That is very humid air, by the way. That normally means that your heat index is probably pushing 105, 110 degrees. In a nutshell, that's just a quick example. But the dew points are going to be absolutely ridiculous in this area today. I'm talking about mid to upper 70s for dew points in like Arkansas and surrounding regions. We'll talk more about that here in a second. Water vapor loop, you can kind of see what's going on. It's a little tougher this morning, but a ridge of high pressure over this portion of the country. This is beginning to scoot east, and you can see the ridging going on behind it, around it, not behind it. And you can see areas of showers and storms kind of developing around this, what we call ring of fire. And this will continue to scoot and move east. And just mesoscale convective systems, complexes of thunderstorms will ride the boundary. And that's why you have a severe chance of storms today in this region, and this region, even though this region is kind of off a kind of a different setup. But we're going to look at the NAM. The NAM, I feel like, has been doing a good job. And the reason we're looking at the NAM is because it does have some convective feedback issues, which means sometimes it's way too aggressive with convection and showers and storms it tries to model. But honestly, when it comes to these summer type setups, the more aggressive scenario normally ends up playing out. Not always, but normally it does. The HRRR model tends to be a little conservative when it comes to convection and showers and storms, things like that. So we're going to look at the NAM, especially for this region today. So, you know, over the next hour or two, you're going to be dealing with some showers, maybe even a rumble of thunder south of Washington, D.C. This will move into areas of the coastal regions of Maryland, and then areas of Delaware, even areas of southern and central areas of New Jersey. This will move on out. The atmosphere will destabilize in this region right here. And even outside this region, you're going to have a chance for severe storms. But here we go. We're getting into about 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Here's some storms popping up in this region. And this is the area where any of these storms that form. Watch out, Richmond points south, Raleigh points north. You guys are going to be under the gun today. You know, this could also sneak well into far deep areas of southeast Virginia, northeast North Carolina. And here we go. These storms are forming. These could be some supercells. So, you know, it's looking like the soundings support more low precipitation supercells. You know, they might not be gigantic storms by any means, but they could produce some damaging winds. And a quick tornado is certainly possible today in this region of the country. You're going to have the chance for some storms up here also. Watch out, Washington, D.C. You guys could see some storms, but it looks like the biggest threat is going to be south of Washington, D.C. But any of these storms right into here, even into North Carolina, these could produce some severe, you know, warnings and things like that. So please be careful today in this region right here. And these will continue to make their way to the Atlantic Ocean. But, you know, even areas in the Delmarva area, watch out. Delaware, as you get into the evening times when you're putting the kids down to sleep, whatever evening activity you got, these will begin to lose some steam, but they will still pack a punch here in Maryland, Delaware, and just all these coastal regions right into here. Let's take a look at southern Illinois, southern Indiana, Kentucky, and all these states right here. Same kind of deal. We'll get through the morning hours. An area of big-time convection will already be working through areas of south central Illinois, making its way into southern Indiana. This will move through and very slowly move through here. And then the southern end of this, and even up here, you need to watch out in this region because the atmosphere will be destabilizing down here in this region. And I really do think there's a threat for damaging winds, maybe a quick tornado down here. But this could be more of a consolidated pack of storms, almost like a mini broken up line of storms, a mini convective system here, a mini mesoscale convective system riding the ridge where all the hot temperatures are just southwest of this. But, you know, if you're in western Kentucky today, if you're in areas of southern Illinois, southern Indiana, this will pack a punch for a few hours and it probably will likely lose some steam very quickly as we get into the evening hours. So by the time this might try to make it to like Nashville, Tennessee, I think it'll weaken. But here, this will really be for, I would say, earlier in the day kind of thing. Right after lunchtime, these storms will already be packing a punch here in areas of Illinois up here, and then they will gradually drift southeast into Kentucky. But you guys could see some storms also here in Missouri. We'll flip this to Missouri really quick. You know, even though the storm coverage doesn't show as widespread in Missouri, you guys could see some storms today too. For example, here in Kansas with that big time supercell last night outside of Topeka and things like that, near Manhattan, got hit pretty hard last night in Kansas. That storm really wasn't being shown very well in the models, but it ended up forming, and rightfully so. And the National Weather Service nailed it as far as putting a risk for severe storms in that area, even though models really wasn't showing anything. And that goes to show you that I showed the HRRR model, which didn't really show much convection in that area, and there ended up being a pretty powerful storm. Up here in the north central U.S., there is a chance for storms today. This is a much larger area. You guys could see, some severe weather here in northwest Wyoming. Watch out. But these could be some big time storms that move through this area. Could produce large hail, and then a more heightened tornado threat than the first two areas that I've just mentioned, the risk areas. These could produce a tornado. In fact, you could have a big nasty supercell. Watch out. Somewhere in western South Dakota. Heck, it might be in southwest areas of North Dakota. But really, watch out this area right into here, into western South Dakota, even into central to western Nebraska. But watch out this storm right into here. This could really produce some nasty storms. And then another wave comes out of Montana. And if you live in this region right here of South Dakota, please watch out. Damaging winds, large hail, and a tornado threat, especially on the southern flank of these storms, could really produce for sure. But I really think you got to watch out with these kind of setups for very large hail, just like last night. Had some hail in 5-inch in diameter. I mean, hail the size of almost softballs out there was falling in a big-time storm in Kansas last night. But here we go. These move through, and they continue to move all the way in to Minnesota into the overnight hours and pretty much hold some steam across the Dakotas pretty well. But everybody else in the southeast today, yesterday was a perfect example of it. We had rain here in central South Carolina, but they really weren't calling for it. But it's just one of those days. It's a perfect example here in the Carolinas, especially in South Carolina, Georgia, things like that. It might say a 20% chance of rain on your weather apps, but you never know when that downpour is going to happen right on top of you. And this is going to be kind of one of those days where you have the heat and humidity that really builds up very quickly and really just pops off. And normally when the heat builds very fast, like it's already like 92, 93 degrees by lunchtime, and the humidity is almost unbearable outside, usually, and this is just past experiences, the storms normally pop off just after lunchtime. It's like the atmosphere just can't hold it anymore, and it unloads a storm, and you just never know when it's going to pop up on you, that's for sure. And at that point, you're really hoping that it'll rain to cool it off temporarily. But southeast, watch out. Really anybody could see a pop-up shower and storm. Even here in Alabama, Mississippi, where you're not seeing anything, you could see a pop-up shower and storm. But I think if anybody's going to see it, it's going to be in the Carolinas, maybe southeast Georgia, and of course always in Florida. But the coverage is not going to be widespread. It's going to be nearly impossible to figure out where. Northeast, a pretty active day today, honestly. But the further north and northeast you get, it's probably the lesser the severe weather threat gets. Even though you'll have a lot of showers and storms sweeping through almost everybody in the northeast, except maybe Maine, southern New England, maybe just some showers. But even you guys could see an isolated shower or storm. But in general, the further southwest you go, the higher the severe weather threat gets, just due to better thermodynamics. You guys are lucking out right now because y'all still are under the influence with that little bit of troughing. So the temperatures up here just aren't bad. So that means the thermodynamics needed, the higher humidity, and the higher surface temperatures just don't support a big-time severe weather threat. So really, these showers and storms are not really driven much off that. But New York State, Pennsylvania, Vermont, New Hampshire could definitely see some storms today. Watch out, Ohio. You guys could be under the gun for some showers and storms today, but the severe weather threat just isn't going to be that bad. South Central U.S. is going to be begging for some rain, but you're just not going to get it. Probably one of the quietest days weather-wise in some time, where I don't really see anything forming unless you're along this area right here in Kansas and up here near Nebraska, where in western areas of those two states could see some storms popping up that could sweep through, but not everybody is going to see it. North Central U.S., pretty active day. You guys could certainly see some storms moving through really this morning in Minnesota. You're going to be seeing some showers and storms moving through Illinois. You already are here that could really intensify throughout the late morning, early afternoon hours. But this little broken up line of showers and storms will try to make it into Wisconsin as you're getting into the afternoon and evening hours, but it will probably weaken. But then maybe some more storms will fire up in northern Minnesota today. We'll see what those have to do with and what kind of punch they can make. But other than that, not a ton going on, except if you're in this region right here of the country where you have a slight risk. Temperatures today, and it sucks we're already almost 16 minutes through this video, and it's taking this long to mention the temperatures. I will mention, watch out for your pets. If you got any pets outside that, are outside most of the time, even though you don't want them messing up your house or anything, try to get them in a cooler spot, whatever you can do. It is just going to be brutally hot. I know I got a pet bunny, and I'm thinking about bringing her inside because it is just going to be so hot out here. Normally, she is a tough little thing and can handle the heat, but this heat is bad. It really is, and especially over the next few days, it's going to be brutal. But these are potential high temperatures. The Northeast today is saved. Most of the Ohio Valley is not going to be that bad. The further southwest you get into Missouri, even southern Illinois and southern Indiana, is going to be pretty hot. But the further northeast you get, the better off you are temperature-wise. But down here, temperatures are going to be brutal. I mean, it's already starting to heat up in the Carolinas. 90s for areas in Arkansas, Missouri, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. But the big time humidity and the higher dew points are into this region right here. Therefore, you're going to get the worst heat indices. The heat index is what's going to be really the highest in this region due to the fact that the humidity and the higher dew points are in this region. So we need to watch out. And here you go. It shows it the best. These are dew points. These aren't temperatures. Notice the dew points are in like the 60s, even some 50s here in the Carolinas, Virginia. So it's going to be hot, and the humidity is going to be there. You're going to feel it for sure. You're already feeling it this morning, for example, especially if you're near the coastal regions where the humidity stays bad. But it's not going to be, the heat index is only going to be probably a few degrees higher than the actual air temperature, unless you're near the coastal regions, unless you're in Florida, for example, where the heat index can be 5-10 degrees higher than the actual air temperature. It's basically the temperature you feel when you walk outside. But if you look at this big plume of moisture at the surface right here, these are dew points in the 70s, right? Mixed with air temperatures in the mid to upper 90s. What does that mean? Well, it means this. Look at this. I mean, that's just looking at this looks hot, right? This high in pink and white colors, white hot here. Heat index in Arkansas, everybody over 100. Almost everybody over 105 degrees by this afternoon. Mississippi pushing 110, Arkansas 110, Louisiana 110 in areas. Oklahoma, 111, 112 degrees heat index. And areas there's going to be probably some areas that get over almost to 115 degrees as far as the heat index in this region. So I would just limit outdoor activities at all. If you go out to church, definitely just pack it in for the afternoon. Let that AC hum. Make sure it's ready to go. But brutal heat in this part of the country. It's going to be hot everywhere else too, but this will be the worst due to the fact that you have higher dew points, and it's just going to be bad today. So stay safe out there from the heat. God bless all y'all. I'll have you an update this evening.